baseball is a language anyone can speak. You don't need a translator to understand how beautiful a game it is. All you need is a glove and a bat. Halfway across the world, the Japanese have shared a love with the US for this game that goes back much further than you think. Though some may believe that America's post-war influence is what helped spread the game in Japan, baseball has been adored here since the 19th century, with its first professional league starting in the 1920s and its current top league, the NPB, starting in 1936. Though the rules are virtually identical, the game is a little different in Japan. The baseball, strike zone, and fields are slightly smaller. Game lengths are limited in the regular season, and ties are allowed. One thing that is not any different is how amazing the stadiums the NPB is played in. The Japanese have built beautiful, historic venues to house the game that we all love. And today we're going to look at every one of those parks. Critiquing every Japanese baseball stadium is coming up right after this. Real quick, I have to thank Totoro on Twitter for helping with in-person research on these ballparks, as unlike me, he's actually been to a few of them. Let's get into it. As we stated before, the ballparks are smaller in not only field dimensions, but in the case of Yokohama Stadium, overall dimensions as well. This beautifully symmetrical field is so small in size that additional netting has to be put up for all the bombs getting hit into the nearby high-rises and park. Though it's a little grainy here, in 1991, former big leaguer Rod Allen chased Kazuhiko Diamond into the outfield after getting hit by a pitch. That is goddamn hilarious. Across the bay is Zozo Marine Stadium, a 30-year-old ground that has an older concrete donut design. Speaking of the adjacent bay, the proximity to the water often causes heavy fog to roll into the stadium, which resulted in delays in 2005 and an early end to a Japan Series game when Lotte was beating the Tigers 10-1 in the 7th. Though, according to many, that whole series should have been called early as it was a complete beatdown. The Makuhari Mess, which is like a giant swap meet, is across the street where the first official Pokemon trading card game tournament was held. What used to be called Kleenex Stadium, Rakuten in Miyagi, is a gorgeous ballpark. Isn't Jacobs Field also known as Kleenex Stadium? In left field, you'll notice the giant Ferris wheel owned by the makers of Pocky, those stick thingies you were afraid of as a kid, but after you bought them, thought they tasted weird, but still kind of good. Rakuten is going cashless this year and beyond, so when fans are allowed back, better bring a credit card. The newest stadium in the NPB and only 11 years old, Mazda was designed to be retro classic, though as you will notice, unlike Major League Baseball fields, all Japanese fields are symmetrical. This stadium replaced the Hiroshima Municipal Dome and has modern amenities. I personally love the design. The overhanging cantilever decks in left and right are interesting and allow for more intimate seating. Also, the outfield wall is made in such a way that allows climbing and lends itself to plays like this. Wow. Is it open? Is it closed? Who knows? Though this is technically a dome stadium, MetLife does not feature a walled-in substructure beneath the dome, allowing low-trajectory home runs to still leave the stadium. This also allows the free flow of air in and out of the grounds while still preventing rainouts. In 2009, the park was renovated, funded almost exclusively by the Boston Red Sox, paying $51 million for Daisuke Matsuzaka. At least someone profited off of that move. Japan does seem to have a cookie-cutter program for stadiums, as this part-time home of the Oryx Buffaloes looks like a standard symmetrical park, though it is one of 2 NPB parks that still plays on natural grass. The Hanshin Tigers also have games here occasionally, as an odd arrangement of team mergers and scheduling makes use of the country's surplus ballparks. In case you're wondering, Haromato is a fast food chain. Some of the most unusual architecture I have seen in the stadium. The other Oryx Buffalo home is the Kyocera Dome, which looks like a giant silver turtle shell from Super Mario Bros. In 2001, the then Kinetsu Buffaloes were down 3 runs to the Oryx Blue Wave with 1 out. With the pennant on the line, Hirotoshi Kitagawa came to the plate with the bases loaded, and with a 1-2 count, did this. That is widely regarded as the greatest moment in NPB history. I got goosebumps. These 2 teams would later merge to form the Oryx Buffaloes. One of the older venues in the league, Babe Ruth once played here in the 30s. Unfortunately, 2020 will be this historic stadium's last, as the Swallows will be moving into a new park. The team also does the 7th inning umbrella dance, a beautiful marketing ploy that probably makes you feel like you have to buy an umbrella to not feel left out. I also love the adjacent Jingu secondary stadium that has a giant cage around it like a baseball-style Topgolf. One of the most unusual structures I have ever seen, the Pay Pay Dome comprises 3 main geodesic elements and features a retractable roof, which I am positive a giant planet-destroying laser beam comes out of. The roof is actually rarely open, which further lends credence to my suspicion that this is an interplanetary weapon of some kind. Inside the dome, there is a museum dedicated to Sadahara O, the NPB's Babe Ruth. Another dome with an Epcot-style geodesic roof, the Nagoya Dome reminds me a bit of the King Dome or the Trop. Pretty sterile and nondescript. I guess every league has one. The Metrodome of the Far East. The Tokyo Dome often plays host to the MLB both for regular season and exhibition games. The Big Egg, as it's known, uses a pressurized air system to hold up the roof. I'm assuming it doesn't snow here as much as, say, Minnesota, so they don't have to worry about it collapsing. Across the street is a full-size roller coaster inside Tokyo Dome City, which houses the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame. This is the Wrigley Fenway of the NPB, as it is the league's oldest venue and retains some non-conformist quirks like the non-standard outfield distances and field shape. Considered by many to be the most revered park in the NPB, the design was influenced by the Polo Grounds, though thank God it didn't inherit those awful dimensions. Severe damage was caused to the park in 1995 by an earthquake, and a lengthy renovation was completed here in 2010. The park typically sells out and is also the host to Japanese high school baseball, which is NCAA tournament level intense. And finally, a stadium that looks like a giant futuristic automobile, the Sapporo Dome has a floating field and can swap out either natural grass for soccer or field turf for baseball. That's crazy. The NFL has played here, and they have also hosted skiing events inside this amazing facility. Seriously though, it looks like a concept car. It even has a little exhaust on it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I want to thank Totoro Hero for the inside tips, as well as Jameson, my intern, for compiling the info on these. I'm 5 Points Vids, and hopefully someday I'll get to visit these ballparks. Oh, and you made it to my next video.